Welcome to another episode of the Wandering Watercolor. So today I'm painting the this is the fourth page of the Quaint Scenery watercolor coloring book that I make myself. I make it all by hand with the use of lithographs. If you're here because you bought one from me and you just want to use the paint along tutorial, thank you. And if you are wanting to buy one, it'll be in the description. Other than that, if you just want to paint along with us, you can just pause the image or pause the video so you can see the image that we'll be painting. You can kind of just draw it out and then paint along with us. And with that, let's get over to the painting table. This is the image, and this is what it'll look like when we're finished. Now, as always, there's variability in how the colors are mixed, so it won't necessarily look exactly like that, but these are the colors that we're aiming for. The more important thing is to make sure that the values are correct. So if you want it to look proper, even if all the colors are different, if the values in terms of light and dark are correct, then it'll still look good. So that's kind of what we're focusing on. So as always, I'm using the little brush that I have in the little pocket palettes that I make myself. If you bought one from me, it's the same exact brush. It's the one located in here. It comes with 10 colors and you can just put it in your pocket. I make these myself. They're also available in the description. Or if you just have your own palette that you want to use, that's perfectly fine. You should be able to mix all the colors regardless of which palette you use. I always recommend always having a rag and a scrap piece of paper just in case you just want to test some of the colors. And this is just a soap dish. You can pretty much get a porcelain soap dish at any store, and or you could just order it online. And always have a glass or a jar of water so that you can use that instead of the reservoir. This is good for when you're on the go, but you don't want to be stopping and changing it all the time as we are painting this. Okay, so the very first thing we'll do is we'll focus on this house. We'll kind of go from right to left as we paint this. And so we'll start with getting some blue, just straight blue. Okay, and then we're gonna get some of the black here. It's a little more on the blue side. It's like a dark blackish blue, and that's good. Mix some water into it so it's nice and flowy. So this building back here, we'll just go and make a flat wash right on top of it. And it's okay if we don't get everything perfect. Like, don't worry about being inside the lines too much. Just kind of go ahead and apply it. And just do a flat wash is what we're aiming for. When I say a flat wash, is basically you're going for the same tone. You're not doing any texture. It's just a flat color all the way across. Okay, and that's for the whole building here. And remember, it will dry much lighter, so that's fine. Okay, I'm doing that. And down here as well, some of the buildings showing here. And okay, that's good. Now we're gonna get a little more of the blue here, and maybe a little bit of this. This building is a little bluer, so we'll just go ahead and we'll lay down that color. It's similar to this one, but it's more on the blue side. So some variability between the buildings will make the whole scenery look better. Granted, you don't have to do that, but if you want to focus strictly on values, but doing this just makes the whole image more interesting to look at. Now, the next thing we're going to do, I'm just going to dip the brush and there's still pigment on the brush. When I go and dip it and get water, there's pigment on the brush, and I'm just kind of mixing that right here. And the reason being is this, I'm just gonna put it down because it's a lighter tone. So I'm just putting that down right here. And you can immediately see how this looks darker than this. So the light is coming kind of like from the left, upper left, going down towards the lower right. I'm gonna rinse off my brush, dry it off, and then kind of pick up some of that color because it's a little darker than I want it to. Actually, if I just grab a dry part of my rag, I can just press it in, pick it up, and then do that a couple of times, and that works perfectly fine. And then maybe rinse off the brush, dry it off, and then pick up a little more. Okay, maybe a little more. There we go. That's fine. Next, we'll go ahead and we'll get that little house right there. That one is kind of like a more fluorescent green. So we'll grab some of the green here and the yellow, and not too much green, more yellow really, and that looks fine. Go ahead and we'll paint that in. And that's perfect. I'll rinse my brush. And then the house next to this blue house is more of a purple house. So we'll grab the burgundy right here. We'll grab some of this blue right here and the dark blue. Actually, let me grab it up here and mix it in. A little more blue. It's still too red. There we go. Kind of like a darker. Actually, yeah, that's a good violet color. Go ahead and we'll put that in here. So we're not doing any textures, we're not doing any shading. It's just right now we're just applying all the houses, we're just applying the flat washes right on top of them. And so the same for this house right here. Also, if you have your own brush, it may be easier for you to use that instead of this one. I'm only using this because of the people that purchased the palettes from me. So that they can see that the whole thing can be colored with just this brush. It does require a little more paying attention and going maybe a little slower, just because this brush isn't as easy to work with as, say, like a fine liner like this, or even one of the larger brushes like this, because these are synthetic. They're very soft, but what happens is when you get the bristles wet and with pigment, you can really kind of shape it and get like larger strokes or very fine detail if it's wet. So the same is true for this, but not as much. If you want to get really fine detail, you kind of have to pigment load it, because the pigment will help the bristles stick together. But yeah, anyway. So next we will go ahead and get the roof right here. For that, we'll just grab a little bit of the black, not too much, just a little bit, because it's kind of like a gray wash that we're going for. And we will go ahead, that looks good, that looks pretty, well, maybe a little more water. We don't want it to be too heavily pigmented. Grab the water and just go ahead and apply. Actually, that's good. I'm just going to grab just straight water and pull this out like this. Like that. Rinse off my brush, just straight water, just kind of like that. There we go. And rinse it off, dry it off, and then pick up just picking up a lot of that. Okay, so that's good. Next, we're gonna lay down a brown. This is more of a reddish brown, kind of a bright. So we're just gonna use this straight. We're not gonna dilute it or mix it or anything. We're just gonna grab that right there, and then kind of just take your time, kind of look carefully. There's a fence running right there, and it goes all the way from back there, going all the way up to right here. So we're gonna do that. So we're good on that. Rinse off my brush. Then I'm gonna get the same brown color. I'm also gonna add a little bit of green. There we go. So it changes the shade of brown that we're working on, or working with, I mean. And then we're gonna apply that right here to this part of the fence. It's kind of like a privacy fence back here. And we're gonna cover all of this and this right here. This little part is more in the foreground, but they're the same color, so I'm just getting them both in one go. Okay, and then right here a little bit, and it's okay if it bleeds into this color. Okay. Now this same brown, we're gonna add a little more from the brown in the little half pan. I'll get it from the pan, put it in here. I'm gonna actually grab a little bit of this and kind of dull it down, make it darker. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and color right here this little square. This is kind of like ground. It seems to be kind of like packed in dirt, reinforced by the wooden supports for that's kind of holding up the side here, where, because this is a river, this is a body of water, so I'm just kind of filling in the side, just kind of going all along, and this goes right there, all the way in under the bridge and around. The path itself of the river just kind of curves that way past the bridge, so that's what we did there, and that looks fine. And next I'm going to get a little more just straight brown, maybe mix it in a little bit, and maybe a little orange, because this is supposed to be a little lighter. This fence right here is it's still brown, but it's just a different shade. So I'm just gonna grab that and go all the way like this. There we go. Okay, and then there's also some wooden pieces back here. It's almost like a it's like a support for different plants to grow on. Just kind of color that in. Rinse that off. So far so good. And next we will focus on this area right here, which is kind of paved, kind of like cement. It's basically the same color as this roof right here. So I'm just gonna get some water and use that and just kind of color it in. And I'm avoiding, there's some pots here that are holding plants in them. I'm just kind of avoiding them and going like this. Okay, so that looks good so far. It's okay if it blends in a little bit over here. It's not the end of the world. I'm just gonna take off my jacket 1 second. Okay. The next part is we'll paint the roof of this house. It's a green, but it also has some brown in it, so we're just gonna mix all of that in. That actually looks exactly like the color that I need. That was a very quick mix. And just gonna put it right in there. I'm trying to leave some lines white because they make the composition look much more interesting whenever there's spots of white, even though in real life that may not be the case. With watercolor, it gives it makes it look better. I don't know how do I say it. Like if there's white spots throughout the piece where you're showing the paper, it actually helps tie the whole thing together better. And next we will go ahead and mix some green. Just gonna get some green right here. Well, you know what? I feel like some of these colors are gonna run together. So to avoid that, I'm just gonna switch out my little plate here. You can just use a rag and then just wipe it all off, but for the sake of time, I'm just gonna grab the green and a whole new plate and then get some yellow. Okay, that is a very strong yellow. Let's see, I mean green, yellow green. So I'm gonna put a little bit of brown in it just to tone it down a little. It's too strong. That's better. And next, I'm just gonna dilute it a little bit and start laying down flat washes of green. So the green is gonna go right here, just all over here. And here. And on top here. And in here. Just everywhere where there's shrubs and bushes and plants. I'm just kind of giving that first initial wash of green. And right here. And you can change the colors to whatever you want. This is just kind of going along for people that aren't sure how they would want to color it. Just kind of a nice instructional. Okay. There's some green along the fence. And then right here. And on top of here, and this is all green. This is all bushes and trees. Okay. Okay. This is good so far. And next we'll go ahead and we'll paint this roof. This roof is actually rather orange. The way we'll do that is we'll get some of this yellow, orange, a little bit of the brown, like that, and then a bunch of red. That's fine. We'll go ahead and we'll just put that right down here. There's also a small roof right here that is orange. We'll go ahead and we'll get that. This roof right here, we'll get that. It's more of a brown roof, but we're just putting that as a base. And then this roof right here, also orange. Okay, so we have that. Okay, next we can go ahead and work on this roof for this church looking building. And grab some blue. And actually this is just going to be, the church roof is just going to be blue. So we'll go ahead and we'll put that on top right there. We will add some shading into it after it dries. Same right here. Just fill it in. Okay, it looks good so far. Then we can go ahead and get this roof. Just do some brown. Brown and a little bit of burgundy. A little bit of blue. Too much. And more brown. Okay, that looks good. Go ahead and we'll drop that in. And the same color, we're going to go ahead and use it to cover this building right here to the side of the church. And also this building right here. Okay. And actually this one as well. We can go ahead and give this roof a little bit of a wash and okay. I'm gonna dry off my brush here and pick up some of this. Do that a couple of times because this is actually supposed to be a lighter shade of brown, kind of like that. So we're good there. And the church itself has a rather green tone to it, so I'm just gonna grab the brown. Yeah, it's kind of like a green brown, almost like this roof right here. But just gonna grab that, mix it in, and then just give it a wash. Okay. And next, we'll go ahead and we'll cover this roof. This roof is more on the red side. It's kind of like brown red, but it's more on the red side. We'll just grab some of the brown, mix it in. And something like that. Yep, that looks good. Go ahead and we'll cover that. There we go. Same for this roof right here. Get a little more color. And let's see. Get more brown. This roof right here. And then get some of this brown, maybe some orange a little bit, and paint the body of this building right there. Same for right here. And also this one in the background. Okay. I'm going to give this one in the background this color roof right there. Okay. So this is all looking good so far. And this roof is similar to this one, but it has more of the blue-green in it. So we'll go ahead and we'll mix that in. And just go like that. Rinse the brush off. Next, we need to mix a different shade of green for the grass here and here. The way we do that is we grab some of this green and get more of the yellow. And I'm gonna get some water, dilute it, and we'll just go straight in. And I'm gonna try to avoid these little wooden poles right here, because it's like a clothesline or something, or a fence or something that's used to prop up something. It's not very clear in the image. So we'll go ahead and we'll put that in. And also on this side right here, much easier, just run it all the way down. Okay. There are also a couple of lily pads in this water over here, so just go like that. Quick and easy. Rinse off our brush. Next, I'm just gonna get some yellow to kind of mix it in here, and maybe a little bit of this brownish reddish. Kind of throw it in. Dull the yellow a little bit, and that's gonna go right here. Okay. All that looks good. The same yellow is what's going to be used for these little poles that are sticking out of over here in the lawn, but because it's still wet, I don't want to go ahead and just put them on because it'll kind of ruin it. So I'm just going to rinse off my brush, go ahead and color in with the brown red this rooftop right here, and also this one back here. Clean that off. I'm gonna color this shed, and it's a fairly this green, which is very kind of like a teal, almost blue-green. We're just going to use that pretty much straight out of the pan. We're not going to really dilute it or anything. We're just going to go ahead and throw that in. Right here. I'm gonna rinse off my brush, then grab or dry it off, and then pick it up, dry it off, pick it up. Do that a couple of times. That looks good. Rinse that off. Okay. So that's drying right there. Now we'll go ahead and we'll focus back right here. And then we can bring back the other palette. And the way we will do that is just grab the blue, kind of mix it in here. Grab the blue and grab some of the black. Actually, let's grab some of the brown because it'll help really darken it. Perfect. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll give an outline right here. It's a big outline. I'm going to outline some of the windows down like that, and this line where there's a pipe running down the side of the building. All of that. I'm going to outline here, here, some of the shadow like that. And we're also going to put a shadow basically on the side over here, and then I'm going to get the color off, not completely, because then I'm going to use whatever is left on the color right here just to kind of outline some of the tiles that are on the roof. Just kind of go like that, like that. It's like little backward L's. And even if you're a little more expressive with it, that's fine. I'm gonna do like a small outline right here, like that. So that's fine. And then we'll use the same exact color to create a shadow right here underneath this little roof right there. That's maybe sticking out a little bit, and then like that. Same thing for the roof of this church. It has some lines running up it like this, all with the same color. And then also going to cover this side of this roof in shadow like that. Rinse off our brush, dry it off, and then we will get the green that's right here. We'll add a little bit more to it, and then add a little brown to it. That looks just about right. We will go ahead and color in right here. Give some texture to the little shrubs and bushes that are in this yard. I'm gonna go ahead and just give it some texture. Put that in, right there, like that. Just kind of filling in where the shadow would be, just showing that there's some form to these bushes. Does not have to be perfect by any means. We're just throwing it in. And then, okay. Okay. Do the same back here for this bush. This one is further back and more enveloped in shadow because of the distance and where it's located. So we'll put kind of bigger shadow spots on there. And this is all okay. There we go. Now notice how much lighter the shadow dries. We will go ahead and reapply a second coat, just so we can make sure that it sticks out and has that distinction of where the shadow is. The image itself already has a lot going on, which makes it difficult to discern one detail from another. So whenever we can give an opportunity to emphasize the darker values, it helps develop better forms in the image. And we just kind of keep outlining that shadow and keep it going right in there. Okay. Go in here a little bit. Okay. Okay, and some more. Oh, and we're doing this for all of the bushes, all the shrubs, but we're not doing it for the ground. The ground is just going to stay that even shade of green. But everything else we are kind of filling in. And I just realized that we actually missed all of this is also supposed to be green, which is part of the ground. Once I finish filling in these ones right here, we can get back to that. So that was from this one. We'll get this color green, and we'll just go ahead and just lay that in all the way through. There we go. Okay. And now there's also over here in the image there's a dark bush, kind of because it's kind of like further back between buildings. We'll just kind of throw that in here. And that's that. And next we can go ahead and fill in some of the windows. The way that we'll do that is pretty much all of the windows, because of the distance from the viewer of the image, they're very dark. So really, I'm just gonna rinse off my brush, kind of dry it off, slightly moist, and pick up a bunch of the black pigment here, and basically just laying it right in the little windows. And we're gonna do that pretty much for all of the buildings. Just keep picking up the pigment just straight and go slowly, so you can kind of just lay down the little black areas. Same for right here. And in here. Here. I'm just kind of going along and filling in get some more black and fill in right here, and right here, just some dots, some dabs, and that one. Put it here, this one. Doing this throughout the whole piece also helps make it feel more uniform. And right here. Right there, right there. Okay, I think that's up. Oh, missed one little guy right there. Okay. Rinse off my brush. And then I'm gonna get a little bit of the yellow from that yellow green that we had used for the privacy fence or whatever this is right here. I'm actually just gonna go ahead and fill that in. Oh, too much. I'm gonna clear that up a little bit. Fill that in right there. Rinse that or dry that off. Okay. And then this right here, I'm gonna go ahead and mix that up and then use it a little bit for these arches that are on the church. They are a different color, just add a little distinction. And let's see, also right here, I'll put that in. There's like a chimney in the side of that further back building. So all that is fine. I'm gonna pick up some of this brown, get some of the dark brown, mix it in with this brown down here. Go ahead and get that on this roof right there. It's looking good. Clear off the brush. And next, well, at this point, I'm actually just gonna, really all I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna use my rag, maybe dip it a little bit in the water, and then just kind of clear out, because I'm gonna need a bunch more space. And then just basically put down some water, just regular water, and then grab the blue, the dark blue in there, and then get more water. And what I'm going to do is just kind of mix up a very light wash of that blue, because that's going to be the wash for the water down here. We're just going to start laying it in, and basically just kind of like doing some ripples. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just putting it in and just kind of like doing some ripples across the water. And just putting it in very gently, just almost kind of sporadic, because you know, when you look at water, it has ripples, and there's some uniformity to the ripples when you look at them in the water, but they're also very chaotic, so it's kind of a hard balance. But just going kind of like this helps convey the motion and the idea of how the ripples are. I'm gonna go like this, like this. Oh, like that. Okay, that looks good. We're gonna leave that, maybe a little more down here. We're just gonna leave that, let it dry. And while that's drying, actually I can go ahead and just get some more of the dark blue and get it directly from the palette and just kind of apply it in here, so that we can get darker tones for the church, as well as right down here. as well as over here. Just darkening the values, making it more vibrant. It's very useful, and especially in this piece where there's so much going on. And we're gonna do the same for the bushes and shrubs. And this time I'm not going to use a lot of water to dilute them. I'm just using just kind of like straight pigment, green and brown. So we get that nice dark green right here, and just kind of fill it in. Just do a little bit of outline like that. And right here. And filling in between here where that little stand is, and then here. Okay, see, that's starting to look better in terms of being able to distinguish what's what. And then getting some brown, and then getting some blue, and oh man, that is a very dark brown. Jeez. Did not mean for that. Gonna get a little more brown, move down here, maybe get a little bit mixed in. That's better. That's a better brown. So we're gonna go ahead and put that in here, in here, in here, and in here, and same right there, and like that, like that. There's basically a little bit of a shadow for where these little pillars are, and where parts of the ground kind of like stick out past what's there. And then this, we're just gonna cover it in the back here, just because it's much further back, and so therefore it's darker. It creates that sense of depth. So that's good. Alright, draft my brush, pick up some of this green again, and actually go in here where this bush is. Same for back here and here. Okay, that's better. Oh, actually I should have also done this one right here. Can definitely cover that up thoroughly with the dark green. I'm gonna rinse my brush off. Okay. Okay, pretty good. And then we're just gonna go straight for the dark blue, and I'm gonna dilute it a little bit with water, but that's the extent of how we're mixing it. And then going straight in, gonna go like that. Not as much as what we did previously, just kind of throw in some ripples, some darker parts of the water, maybe more towards where the ground is. And just kind of throw out some faint ripples in the middle a little bit, just make it more interesting with the variability in colors in the water, or the values I should say. And here. And here. And there. Definitely more towards the back, just because of the distance, it gets darker. There we go. More towards the ground there. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good. Rinse that off. Next, I'm gonna go straight for this pigment, for the blue-green pigment. I dried my brush off a little bit, and then I'm just gonna pick some of it up. I'm gonna go ahead and outline directly right in here. Right in here for this building. Maybe right there. And rinse that off, and then actually get some of the green, some of the brown, mix it together. Now I need some more green. Okay, kind of get most of it off the brush, and then make some lines right there. Perfect. We are almost done. Rinse that off. And, I have like 4 of these. They're very useful. I use them all the time. And just because I don't want to like keep cleaning the other ones. And the last thing we're going to do is, well, actually 2 more things. First, we're going to go ahead and get some of this blue. Get a bunch of it. Get a bunch of water. More of the blue. And because we need a lot of it, because we're going to do a wash across the whole sky. And okay, so this is good enough. And we're just going to go in and just start placing the sky. And the way we're going to do that is just kind of running it in and then leaving distinct spots for where the clouds are. Just put it all in, and you see, right? We're just gonna leave that, like that right there. We're just gonna leave that white for where that cloud is. We're just gonna go ahead and continue going here. Put in a little bit like that. Up here. Maybe a little bit like this. It doesn't have to look perfect, and it does not have to look exactly like mine. You can actually switch this up to make it look... You can make the clouds look however you want. It's as long as you have some large areas of white that can be recognized as clouds, you're good. Just kind of like that. Okay. Put all that in. All of that, and so that's it for the sky. See how quickly we got that in? But I did notice that back here, this is kind of hard to look at because there's not enough definition. So the way we're gonna do that is, we're just gonna, actually let me just switch that out. There we go. The way we're going to do that is actually we're just going to rinse that off, dry it off, grab this dark color right here, and just kind of go in between a little bit. And just kind of give it some outline, like maybe over here. It's kind of hard to make that out. But adding those in, or maybe kind of like a line over here for the bridge, like a line just where the railing is, just so it reads a little better. There we go. And rinse that off, and we're done. I mean, it's a very complicated piece, but you can see the depth of it kind of going. Maybe add a little dark green over here, just kind of like, and rinse that off, dry it off. Just kind of like fade it out, just to show that there's depth. Maybe right here a little bit, but honestly it's not really necessary. Maybe add a little, but no need for too much of that. And yeah, Yeah, so we're done with that piece. You can add more dark spots throughout the roofs or like different areas if you wanted to, but that's good. You can easily see what the whole piece is, and yeah. So yeah, that was pretty much it for that one. Thank you for joining me and following and sticking through the whole way if you did. Don't feel like you have to do these all in one go. You can just pause them and come back to them at any time. And I'll be posting another one or two or three of these today. So I will see you next time.